Welcome to the Worth It Practice podcast. I hope you're having an absolutely wonderful week. Today, I wanted to talk with you a little bit about data and data tracking. I know, such sexy topics, but I wanted to share a couple of stories about some recent experiences I've had with data tracking and the ways that it can be really useful and also the ways where it can make you sometimes a little bit too neurotic. So here's the situation. I am really up on my numbers for the practice. It's really important to me that I know how things are going on a regular basis so that I can make decisions or make changes if there's a problem in the practice. Sort of like I need to constantly know the health of the business. And so I'm keeping track of key performance indicators of health. For example, how many sessions actually happened in a week? How full are each of my clinicians every single week so that I know if we're filling them enough? How many new inquiries are there? How many conversions are there for each part of our service? It's really important for me to know that information. For a long time, I did not have an organized system for this. So I would just kind of go through and eyeball it. So I would look in one of our systems and see our conversion rate and maybe write something down. And then I would notice that our revenue had dropped, and then I would personally go and look in different therapist schedules. So I was getting a picture, but it was scattered and it was taking a lot of time, and it was not providing me information I could look at all in one place on a regular basis. When I started having less time, I realized that I had to change the way that I looked at this. So I sat down and created a master dashboard that my clinic director actually completes for me. So she goes in, looks at the data in all of these different places, and every Monday she puts all of the data together and we look at it together. And I ask her how she thinks things are going. And then we make a game plan for where we're going to solve a problem. So if we notice that some different clinicians are in the red, meaning that only 40% of their caseload is full, then we have a plan for how we're going to go in and solve that problem. Or if we notice that our retention rate is low for whatever reason, then we start trying to investigate that system. So it's been really helpful being able to look at this once a week, compare it from the previous week. It's really shining light on where are different problems, what can we solve without it getting too messy. So I like having this data. For me, it's really reassuring. It's like knowing the blood pressure of the practice. It's a good way for me to go in and get this health data. The problem with it is that sometimes it can cause me to panic too early. It can cause me to see problems that don't exist and to panic when there's nothing actually going wrong. So this actually happened to me just the other week. And if you've been reading my Worth It newsletter, you may have heard me talk about it a little bit. So this is what happened. So in my clinic, we generally get 15 new clients a week into the practice. That's just what our data tends to show, especially during this time of the year. Now, it can vary a little bit. 20 would be a really good week. 15 is about average. 10 would be acceptable. But those are the numbers I'm usually looking at. And it's important for us to have these kinds of numbers coming in because we provide evidence-based treatment. And when we do something like parent-child interaction therapy, usually people are only with us for 12 weeks or so before we're able to discharge them. If we were a psychodynamic practice or a psychoanalytic practice, we were seeing people for years and years and years, this would be different. But our entire model is providing a treatment that works and kind of getting people out of there without them being in treatment for a really long time. So I was looking at the numbers, and there was this recent week where it was end of the day on Wednesday, and we'd only gotten one new client. That's not good. That's a huge anomaly from the data that I normally see. But first, I tried to be practical about it. I hate unexplained data. I don't like it when I don't know why things are going well, and I really hate it when I don't know why things are going wrong. I was like, we have to solve this mystery. I took some reasonable steps. One thing I did is I reached out to my website designer, who also manages our SEO and also manages our Google ads, because I wanted to make sure that there was not like a website problem. Because imagine that. Imagine there was some sort of website problem where people couldn't book matching calls, or where we were unsearchable, or where our ads were falling apart. If there was a problem anywhere in there, that's a fix we can make that should solve the problem. So I reached out. I was like, hey, our data's weird. Are you seeing anything? Can you look through it? Can you make sure there are no problems? Highly recommend this if you notice that there's a problem in your data, because if there had been a problem there, we could have fixed it. The problem was there was no problem. She went through it. She sent me a loom. And she was like, it looks good to me, Leah. I don't see a problem here. I'm like, well, that's good news, but that's also bad news. I feel like it's like when you go to the doctor when you're sick and you're like, I don't want a negative result to show up. However, it's kind of helpful if I know what's wrong, because then at least I know what the treatment is. And otherwise, you're just like, so I feel sick for no reason. What do I do with this? So that happened. The other thing I did is reach out to my admin team. And I'm like, what's going on with our conversions? Are you noticing any patterns? Is there anything we're doing differently? Is there anything our clients are doing differently? Why are they not converting? And basically what I heard is, I don't know. Things are kind of the same. Just for some reason, people are not actually scheduling on as new clients. So there's nothing I could fix there. I explored a bunch of, do you think it's this? Do you think it's that? We just couldn't come up with any reason why there would be this change. So, of course, I did what every normal person would do, and I freaked out. Wouldn't you? I didn't freak out in front of my team, though, right? Like, I didn't want to panic them. So I was like, oh, thank you so much for what's going on. And then I freaked out internally. I went through everything I could think of. I catastrophized. The business is ending. Private pay is dead. I mean, things I don't even believe. Right? Maybe I'm terrible at business. It's a great moment for all your insecurities to come up when something like this happens to you. And then I talked to my husband. This is what my husband is like. He's the best. He's an engineer. Have you noticed that psychologists and therapists either tend to marry other psychologists and therapists, or they marry like engineer IT people, right? We tend to like pick the same or the opposite. And I guess since my parents picked the same, I was the child of two psychologists, I picked the opposite. So I picked someone who's very analytical, who is not involved in my practice. He's like a sounding board sometimes, but we don't run it together. He works on the space station doing their electricity, not physically on the space station, but he does their electricity stuff. And he's a W-2, and he's not interested in being an entrepreneur. And he just like says supportive things. Sometimes he's just my sounding board. I'm just like, everything's terrible. And I don't know what the problem is. And I'm doing something wrong and I don't know how to fix it. Just freaking out. And he's just listening to me, which is what he does, because he doesn't give advice, which is actually great. And he's just listening to me just process my feelings, basically. And finally he says, Leah, remember in statistics, there is normal variation. And I'm like, oh, yeah. Because what he meant by that is just like, sometimes numbers are just weird. Sometimes numbers are just weird, like just weird stuff happens and it doesn't mean anything. He thinks about statistics all the time because he's thinking about the statistics in electricity and space stations and also fantasy sports, which he's really good at. That's very statistics. And I'm always trying to forget about statistics because I was scarred by SPSS in graduate school, like many of us were. But I forgot about that. He would be a great therapist because he doesn't like hit you over the head with your insight, right? He's not like, and now what you've learned, he just kind of throws things out there and just lets you process them. And I'm like, yeah. So I'm panicking too early. I'm panicking, I think, because my deep fear is that something will go wrong and I won't be able to fix it. Isn't that what we're all kind of afraid of deep down as business owners? Like we've got things and they're going well, but we know we're not in complete control. And so as long as we can fix it and we know how to fix it, it seems like controllable. But there's just these things we just can't control. And it's been especially wild this last year, hasn't it? Like it's just a lot sometimes, just a kind of across everything. So I just said random variation to myself like 30 times, made it a mantra. And the next day we got new clients. And the last couple of weeks, things have picked up a lot. Also don't know why. I guess what I'm trying to say is it's good to look at your data. Highly encourage it. I would rather notice the problem, overreact, and then be able to potentially solve it than not know about it. So you want to know what's going on. Highly recommend creating a dashboard so that you can look at it on a weekly basis and notice patterns. And remember random variation. Don't panic too early. Put on your engineer hat if you need to. And also remember that everybody freaks out a little bit sometimes. It's really human. So it's really easy to listen to me talk on this podcast and listen to other people talk on their podcasts, and we sound like we have it all together, but we all freak out sometimes. It's just part of being a human and a business owner, and having supportive people that can be there for you and not shame you and not make you doubt yourself. So critical, so incredibly critical. So I hope this was helpful to you. I'm just being really real with you. I'm really committed to pulling back the curtain on what really goes on and what I'm really like in the business so that you can see the good, the bad, the ugly, and the way that things turn out. And I hope you have a great week, and I will talk to you next time on the Worth It Practice podcast.